Hey everybody. I am Romy Hill. My real name is Rosemary. I go by Romy as a nickname, and you can call me either one. And I am the designer behind Designs by Romy. And this is my very first episode of my Romy Studio Journal. Um, so it took me a while to get here, and I wanted everything to be perfect, which means for me, like being the perfectionist, I procrastinate. So this is a little bit later than I wanted to have it, both because I had to clean everything, and all of you who are also procrastinators who clean to procrastinate will understand this. And I also had technical issues. So I'm actually streaming this to YouTube Live in hopes that my audio and video will actually sync up. Um, I have to dive really deep into all my settings and figure out what's going wrong. So hopefully I won't make a complete fool of myself today by streaming live. At least I get to see this before I give you the link to it, or I put it up in live on my channel. So anyway, I just decided to jump in and do it. And as I go along, I will perfect everything, hopefully, and keep changing. Anyway, so today I am going to talk about my Wildspring cardigan and a couple of other things. Wildspring, which I'm wearing right now, is a nice kind of loose cardigan with a lace bottom. And let me stand up here and show you a little bit more. It has lace at the bottom here, and I like looser clothes because I like to wear loose sleeves on my tops. And so this has kind of a bigger sleeve so that it will fit over pretty much anything you want to wear it over. So I'm just going to adjust this down a little bit. Um, However, if you want to do something different, you can actually make the sleeve tighter if you want to. You can change things, and it's fairly customizable. It's a little bit of a different construction, but I am going to go through the construction and hopefully kind of get everybody used to it enough that you can figure out if you want to do something with it, um, what you want to do. So let me take this off first, and I'm going to show you the back here. So I think you can see up at the top here, there's a braid, and it goes across the top, like right below the neckline up here. And this camouflages the short rows that are used to shape the shoulders, but also it gives you some nice structure. This is a completely seamless cardigan. So this gives you some nice structure across the top. It acts like a seam and gives you more structure so that you don't have it kind of pulling out with the weight. So let me just put this aside. I am going to hold up the bottom here so you can see what the lace looks like. And one of the things that I like most about this cardigan is that the lace increases out. It's kind of like an A-line. So the lace increases within the pattern. And so you don't have any type of spine or seams or anything like that. It's just completely like contained within the pattern. So I'm just going to share. I actually ended up using my teaching setup for this because I was having issues with my other setup. So I'm just going to show you my hands, and we're going to go kind of over how this whole thing is set up. So let me just get this out. Okay, so I'm going to show you some other stuff later on. But so this is from the pattern, and this shows you how the first part of the cardigan is put together. There's a provisional cast on right across the bottom here. And if you were to look at the sweater, that would be right at the base of where, right under the sleeve. So right across this area here. So this is the sleeve shaping, and I'm holding this upside down. So you'd be casting on right across the full width of the back, including the sleeves. And later on, we do the sleeve decreases and shape, and then down into the lace. So we're not going to talk about that right now. But this right across here, this is the cast on. So it's a provisional cast on, and within the pattern, there is a tutorial for my favorite provisional cast on, which is a crocheted cast on with waste yarn. And this one, you may have used them before. This one is actually crocheted onto a needle, so it's super, super easy just to pull it out. Okay, so we do the cast on here and then knit straight up. And the shoulder shaping is accomplished using German short rows. So right across here, we're still working right across here with the full width. So right here is the sleeve opening. This is where you'd be picking up stitches around the sleeve as the last part of the sweater. And we're going to shape up back and forth, back and forth, back and forth up to this point. And then all of these short rows are resolved in one line across here. And a braid is worked. So just, it's a Vickel or Estonian braid. It's a very simple. And I was showing that to you earlier. It's worked from the wrong side. So I'm going to show you how to do it from the wrong side because it's a little trickier and there are some things that you want to watch out for. So once that is worked, we're going to start working each of the sides, and it goes over the shoulder. So this little neckband here is provisionally cast on at the center back neck, and then it's worked at a 90-degree angle. And then it becomes just part of the front panel. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is the area here that's worked at a 90-degree angle. And you can see right about here, it stops being worked at 90 degrees and it just becomes part of the front. So you're just going to be working straight across. At the end, you will be doing a 3-needle bind off right at the center back here, and that's going to work those two sides of this neckband together. So one of the things I particularly love about this cardigan is the simplicity of this sort of self-edging all along the front and the neckband. So what this is basically just all that's happening is that a stitch is slipped at the beginning of each row. And because I put this little column here of reverse stockinette, that sort of resolves the curl here and makes it stop right at that little alleyway of purl stitches. So what you have is it curls around and looks like an applied I-cord, but it's actually super, super simple. So all you're doing is slipping those first 2 stitches around the back here, and then it just curls in on itself, and the front doesn't curl any further because of that little kind of alleyway of purls there that keeps you from having just the entire front be curled. So that continues on. You're going to be putting the stitches at the end here. That's going to go onto us. So this folds over here, and the fronts and the back are worked together. So this in the pattern, There is a lot of ease in the arm here. And if you do not want a larger arm like I like, you can actually make it smaller and it's very easy to do. So all you want to do is take out some rows right in this area where it's worked straight, and then a corresponding number of rows up at the top here. So take a look at the measurements. You'll be able to see your measurements in the schematic here. You can get a good idea. If you get the row gauge, you'll have a good idea of how everything is measuring. And all you need to do is say you want to take out an inch or something. You're going to take half an inch out on the back and then another half inch out on both fronts. And then when you fold it over, you're going to have a smaller sleeve. So one thing I didn't talk about before is that because this is an open front cardigan, you're going to want to measure the back to figure out what size you want. So it's meant to be worn open in the front. It's not meant to come together. So it hangs properly when it is actually open in the front. Okay, so you can see on here also there are numbers in the pattern, and those correspond to the numbers in the directions. So once this is folded over and everything is all worked together here, that's when we start doing the sleeve decreases. So the sleeves are worked, and let me show you here. The sleeves are worked. They're just brought together here. And these are your decreases, then shaping, and that's the angle of the that's the angle of the underarm. So once that is done, you're going to work down to the lace area. And the first chart, I'm just going to show you what the first chart will look like, but let's take a look at the lace really close up here. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn on, I have this kind of on a light box so you can see the lace a little bit better here. So you can see, I'm going to put my, that's better. Okay. So within the pattern, it starts out in a narrower repeat, and then the repeat widens, and all of the increases are hidden within the charting in here. So there's never any type of seam or like any type of spine or anything like that. All of the increases are completely and totally hidden within the lace patterning. So at the end here, we have a bind off where you can add little points, or some people have chosen not to have points on there, and that is totally possible, easy to do as well. This was partly due to blocking, but I also accentuated these yarn overs at the edge to give that sort of sawtooth look with the scallops. Okay, so let me just show you what one of the charts looks like. So this is, that's what one of the charts looks like. That's the first chart. So there's a repeat around it. It's fairly simple lace. This is going to be worked a different number of repeats for each size. And there are notes in here if you use any type of stitch markers or anything. There's a note where you're going to move them because they do move a couple of times in there. This is just the schematic. So that's what we're looking at here. Because of the way that this is constructed, it pulls up a little bit in the front, and then in the back, it gives you a more rounded look than the schematic really shows. Um, there's no, there are no short rows to shape this part along here. So in other words, there aren't more rows in the back or anything. It's just the way it's constructed. It goes up a little bit in front and then just a little bit longer in back. And then you have these cuffs that are knit onto the sleeves. And if you would like a longer sleeve, you can always just knit this longer. And you can see it comes in quite a few sizes. So there are 19 sizes, I believe. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Um, yeah, lots of sizes. So, and lots of people have knit them in different sizes. So that's been pretty cool to see. And people have chosen different fits as well. Some people have chosen kind of a looser fit, and some people have chosen a tighter, more more body conscious fit, and both of them work really well. Okay, so let's take a look at the braid, and I'm just going to show you what the braid looks like on this front side here. So when you're doing the braid, you want to do it so that you're going to have like basically the structure of a seam. So in the pattern, you're going to do it with a smaller needle, so a much smaller needle. And you want to do it tight. I mean, don't hurt your hands, but definitely don't loosen up on it. This is not meant to be loose. It's going to be loose anyway because you're doing it on the wrong side. So what you're going to do is you're going to work a stitch. So I'm going to take my last stitch that I worked. My yarn is still in front here. So you're slipping the last stitch that you worked over to your left hand needle, and then you're going to skip over that stitch and purl the second stitch in, and then you're going to pull the first stitch in. So I like to give this a little tiny bit of a tug, not a lot of a tug, just a little bit to keep it firm. And then both stitches are going to come off the needle. Then you want to keep your working yarn in front, and you're going to slide that last stitch that you worked back over to your left needle, and then purl the second stitch in. Oops. And then you are going to purl the first stitch in. So that is how you do your braid, and you're just going to go all the way across. So this is what it looks like as you're going all the way across, and it comes out as a very nice braid. I love the look of a nice braid. Anyway, there are some other techniques in here, and I'm actually going to link a few at the bottom so that you can see some of the techniques that I've used. I have some short videos, but I don't want to go too deeply into lots and lots and lots of techniques here. So I just wanted to kind of keep this as an overall sort of, you know, journaling thing and not just a complete teaching episode type of thing. Okay, so I have on my lizard earrings today because today is Worldwide Knit in Public Day, and I was knitting with a lizard earlier on. So this is my homage to my little friends outside, the high desert style of Knit in Public Day. And I didn't mention before, but over here behind me this is my Thornbush sweater. On the other side, that is my 2022 mystery shawl. So, and that's still available in clues, and it's going to be compiled in like a year from when it was released, basically, like right before the next mystery. And until then, you can still get it, and it's with all of the clues. And if there are any errors or anything like that, um, those will be fixed within the clues. So whatever you download is going to be the latest version with everything updated that I know of. So that is still available. And there are some really gorgeous projects, and I have so loved seeing them all. Everybody has gotten these incredibly beautiful color combinations, and a couple of people did one that was just one color, and it is gorgeous. So I hope you look them up, and I'm going to stick a link to the pattern down in the notes so you can kind of click around and see everybody's beautiful, beautiful shawls. Okay, so today I'm really kind of geeking out a little bit because I made a hacky sack. Um, and it's like the perfect weight. So this is a small size. I have a couple of other patterning um, options. Like I am just loving this thing so much. It has the perfect squish to it, and I've never used like a knit hacky sack before, but my kiddo is like is about to steal it, so I had better take pictures of it before he steals it. Anyway, so this pattern is actually going to be in my ebook, my Act of Kindness ebook. So that's coming up. And then I have another pattern that I just wanted to show everybody. So this is my Cuppy Sweater, and it's just obviously like a little cup cozy. I know there are so many of them around, but I have not seen a sweater before. That doesn't mean one doesn't exist. And this has gotten really good reviews so far. One of my test knitters has had it on her desk, and she said that everybody's been commenting on it. So I think that's a good thing. It can also be used for iced coffees and stuff like that. So, and of course, I had to knit them in lots of different colors because, I mean, they're so cute and they're really fast. So I'm just gonna switch over to my hands for a sec. Um, I just wanted to show you this because this includes a lot of tutorials. So this is a top down, and it includes a tutorial for the pattern, includes a tutorial for a provisional cast on, and then for this tubular cast on here. So the tubular cast on starts with a provisional cast on. And I love this because I think it is so nice and finished. And this is a perfect way to learn it. If you don't want to use it, however, you totally don't have to. I mean, any cast on will do also. So these are knit from the top down, and it's constructed just like you would construct a mitt. So this little sleeves here, they're like thumb gussets, and it's just constructed all the way down here. And then there's also a tutorial in here for a sewn tubular bind off. And this gives you a really nice finished edge. Again, if you don't want to do that sewn bind off, you don't have to. You can cast off or bind off any way that you want to. So, but the tutorials are in there if you want to use them. And this also includes a jogless stripe tutorial, and a jogless stripe is written into the pattern. So this is where the rows join. So I'm showing you across here, like hopefully it doesn't hit your eye completely where it would be. Like the idea is just to make it as invisible as possible so that you don't get that little stair step that you usually do when you're knitting in the round and doing stripes. Um, that's because when you're knitting in the round, you're sort of doing like a spiral and not truly knitting in the round. So all I did in the inside here, I just carried my yarn up the back and yeah, so there it is. And I only steam blocked these, so this would probably be a little bit more hidden if I actually wet blocked them. But they are cup sweaters, so I didn't feel like I absolutely had to wet block them. And then you can take a closer look at my little hacky sack here. It's very squishy. It's got like the perfect amount of weight. I found a great filling, so that will be in the pattern as well. And then let me go back here. So when I was working on the mystery shawl, um, like every year, Verb for Keeping Warm and I do this. And so Christine of Verb and I were talking about how like I most of the stuff I've been doing, like it's not stuff that I would necessarily wear around where I live because I kind of live out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm not going to wear a shawl to stack wood, for instance, or like to clear brush in the yard or something like that. So she was like, okay, promise me that you just one thing this year, you're going to work on something that's just for you. So I am totally doing that. And I have it here. So this is the top part is shaped like a yoke. So there are increases in the yoke up here. So these pins are just marking the short rows here so that the neckline doesn't right up and choke me. So I wanted to try kind of a different shape and we'll see how this turns out. So the top part is just like a circular yoke, and then it starts going into raglan. So it has raglan shaping, and it has this like super plain, except for the sleeve that has this really nice pattern and kind of geeked out here with the way that it goes into the pattern right up top and then just like goes farther down. So I love this pattern. It's also one of the patterns that I used on my Little Bit Alexis cowl, and I love it so much that I just wanted to do something else with it. So I'm kind of trying a little bit of a different shape. I like the boxy shape. God, I've got hair in my mouth, sorry. I like the boxy shape, but I don't like the way that it usually kind of rides out in the front and back. Like it looks really nice from when you're looking straight on, but then if you turn to the side, like it sort of is like a line kind of, and I'm going to try to get that sort of boxy shape and then also sort of bring it in a little bit along the body so that it doesn't just sort of flare out. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, and if it works, I will probably make it a pattern for everybody, but I don't know. I'm just working on it now and like we'll see what happens. I'm not going to stress myself by trying to just be like, okay, this has to be a perfect pattern for everybody. So when I do that, just start cleaning everything. So I cleaned up my closet and I found all this yarn that I had from years ago, and it's very well marinated now. Um, and this particular yarn was a discontinued color from elan.com. And so if you have been around the knitting industry for a while, or like just the knitting world, maybe you might remember elan.com. they were a website that used to have discontinued colors. So you go on there, like they would tell you what time colors would go up on their site, and everybody would set their alarm. So I was always on Pacific time, which meant I would be in there at like 5 in the morning, like just clicking through trying to get the yarn that I wanted. So I have like a bunch of sweater quantities of yarn. And so, I mean, something came out of my cleaning everything, like other than it being clean, which is good. But I have all this yarn that I'm just kind of playing with, and I'm kind of found the joy again. So um, I'm very grateful to Christine for bugging me about it. Okay, so anyway, I just want to thank everybody for watching. I am going to try to do more of these. I will get this together to, and at some point, I'll add music and, fun stuff and have better production quality and all that good stuff. But I'm just going to take it a little bit at a time, and I'm not going to stress myself out about it. It's just going to evolve bit by bit. So, thanks for joining.